Hello everybody. That sound that you hear, or maybe possibly hear in the background of this video, is my washing machine. So just ignore that. It's busy, it's doing lots of work. So I also have been doing quite a bit of work, which is why I stopped for a tea break, because everybody needs their tea or coffee. I don't understand coffee people, because I don't need that much caffeine, and also I don't need to drink a beverage that tastes horrible, which is why I like tea. And if you like coffee, okay, but I've tried it several times and like, man, it tastes like burnt dirt that you soak your water in, and then you have like liquefied burnt dirt and like, ugh. Anyway, I got a question underneath one of my videos, maybe the past one, the time before. I don't remember who asked it or some of the specific details of the question. I am sorry, but you know who you are. This person asked me about hair care, long hair care, specifically for kids. They have a daughter and she has long hair, and by the description, her hair is similar to what my hair was around her age. So I thought I'd talk about that. I grew up in a house with 3 other sisters and a brother, but he didn't have long hair. That we all had long hair growing up. And my mom dealt with that. So essentially this is going to be like how my mom dealt with having us with long hair and how I remember that experience as a kid. So by the time I was in kindergarten, my hair was at least down to my rear end. By first grade, it was long enough for me to sit on, which I did to keep little boys from getting their snotty little hands in it, because I thought that was disgusting. And if you know anything about kids, if they're curious about something, they're going to touch it, and I just felt gross. So I would purposely sit on it. But here are some things that my mom would do to help manage our hair. First of all, use real shampoo and conditioner. And what I mean by this is don't use some like kiddie shampoo and conditioner, because kids' hair isn't that much different from adult hair. I still have some of my kid hair on the very end of my hair. So you need to treat it like it's real hair. So I use right now, I use a Tresemme product because I found that that's what works well with my hair, with my water type. So I grew up in the north. We had hard water, which means that there's a lot of minerals in it, and it strips a lot of the moisture and stuff off of your hair. And so I had to use something that had a bit more moisturizer in it, a bit, more rejuvenating on my hair. When I moved down to Louisiana with my whole family, I switched over to something that didn't include any like extra moisturizer in it, because they had incredibly soft water which didn't strip my hair, and if I used anything with moisturizing agent in it, my head would look greasy in like 2 seconds. So I didn't use anything with moisturizer. We switched between using Pantene and Tresemme all of my childhood. Right now I'm using a Tresemme product, but I do switch in between the two. So it's like, it's on the better end of cheap. This isn't like one of the super specialty expensive things, but it's a decent shampoo. And they have decent conditioners that match up. So what I would suggest is if you have dry hair problems, you find one that says moisturizing. For a long time I used one that said anti-breakage on it, which I'm pretty sure was a Tresemme product, and that worked really well to stay off split ends and just keeping my hair nice and smooth. But in this particular area, that did not work for me. My hair was constantly tangled and matted up, and I couldn't comb it out, and it was awful, which is why I now switched to, what's it called? I'll be right back. Yes, this is the Keratin Smooth one, which is what I use now. It has more moisturizer in it, but I found that it keeps my hair manageable in this particular place. Which is something to keep in mind. Depending on your climate and your water, you're going to have to figure out what shampoo conditioner meets your needs and how your hair reacts to them. So you might have to try out a few, which I wouldn't suggest like buying a bottle and if it doesn't work the first time, like pitching it. Like, I'm a frugal person. I use all of everything before I buy something else, which can be problematic. Maybe try to buy the small sizes. But figure out something that works for your hair or your daughter's hair in that case. Something else that she did was when you are washing your daughter's hair or your hair or whoever's hair, make sure the water never goes against the grain of the hair. So if the water's coming down this way, you don't want to have your hair all wadded up and the water going against the grain of your hair, because that's going to cause more tangles. So you always want to rinse your hair out so that it's all flowing down to help reduce the amount of tangling that you're getting. Another thing is for someone who has very straight hair like me, which I know people with curly hair often comb their hair while it's wet because it's way more manageable than when it's dry. But for me, I cannot comb my hair while it is wet. I will have the biggest tangled mess you've ever seen. I cannot do it. So whenever I was little, my mom would kind of roll my hair up in a towel and let it mostly get all the moisture soaked out of it, let it air dry, and then as soon as it was dry, you comb it out. And you start from the very bottom, you touch the very bottom section, and you work your way up the hair. So instead of trying to take the brush at the top and just run it all the way down, you start at the bottom, work out a section, move up a little, work out a section. And that works. Also, braids are great. Braids are wonderful. My mom started consistently braiding all of our hair at some point when we were in elementary school because head lice was going around, and if you have 4 daughters with really long hair, head lice is a nightmare. Yes, we had to deal with head lice when we were in, elementary public school. It was awful. We dealt with it. We didn't cut our hair off. It was just a lot of maintenance. A lot of maintenance. But she would braid our hair every day, which helped keep it from getting all tangled up. Also, combing their hair every day, including like at the nape of their neck, like combing all of their hair every day really helps keep the knots down. Let's see. Sometimes we had our hair curled, but it was like the rollers that you leave in all night and you sleep on, and it was miserable. So I don't do that anymore. I might be that mom that does that to my daughter's hair someday. I hope I'm not, but maybe I will. Let's see what else. What else did she do? Oh, I got into the habit of always braiding my hair before I went to bed, because I'd roll around on it all night, and when I got up, it was just like awful, and I had to spend forever combing it out. I don't do that anymore, but that's just because my hair is so long that I can just like toss it up above my pillow, like down behind the bed, and it hangs back there and it doesn't move. And I can roll around as much as I want. But as a kid, I had my hair braided. I tossed and turned a lot more, and my hair would just be crazy if I didn't. There are certain clothing items that can cause worse tangling than others, such as flannel pajamas or flannel sheets. Those are awful on like gathering up and tangling like the back of my hair. I can't wear flannel pajamas anyway because I would die of heat stroke, but my mom started avoiding flannel sheets and stuff like that because our hair would just get so tangled. So it's something to think about. Essentially, it's about combing it out every day, comb it out before you wash it, keep it confined so it's not getting rubbed up against itself and tangled. So in a braid or a bun. There's a lot of cute braids that you can do on little girls, which I just love. I still keep mine braided or in a bun every day because I can't stand the feeling of it like on my neck because I get hot so easily, and so it is not worth it for me to try to leave it down. Also, it drags on the floor a lot, and it just makes me feel like my hair is dirty all the time, which is just kind of gross, and you step on it and you trip on it, and it's not so good. So yeah. Oh, here's another one. Don't go straight at it with a hairbrush if you know it's tangled. Get yourself a wide tooth comb and first work it out with the wide tooth comb or your fingers, and then go at it with a hairbrush. Because if you have any kind of loose knots that a wide tooth comb could sort of ease out, a hairbrush is just going to turn them into really tight, tiny knots that are almost impossible to undo. It's possible, but it's almost impossible. And so that's something my mom would always do. She'd come out with a wide tooth comb and then the hairbrush and then braid it. And that would just keep everything together. And that's pretty much all I can think of. So I'm going to finish my cup of tea and then get back to work. But as of right now, those are my tips for especially kids with long hair. Mostly just comb it often, keep it confined in a braid if you don't want to comb it all the time. And when you're brushing it out, start from the bottom and work your way up. So yeah, I hope that was helpful to somebody, and maybe it'll get better.